This is about a third of the way down the Yamud, and it's right on the way it says Shmos Chav Gimel in the Torah Or. Okay? They desired to see Shmuel's, they desired to visit Shmuel, who was in Bavel. So they're actually considering going to Chutz La'aretz in order to go visit Shmuel. Armin, they said, Neilach achar Shmias Baskol. Let's follow a Baskol. Now, this is a very fascinating thing. Reb Tzadok speaks about this at great length. You know, a Baskol in the Bible is generally taken to be a voice from heaven. But Reb Tzadok says a Baskol is not necessarily a voice from heaven. And the truth is, this Yerushalmi is, I don't remember he brings down the Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi is explicit raya. A Baskol means a voice from any source which indicates some direction for an individual. But yes, but here I know we had a problem, but here the cases are very obvious. We didn't have cases; we had the concept, the case, and I didn't mention the Reb Tzadok last night, but the cases here are quite obvious. Now, this is the Baal Shem Tov, the famous Baal Shem Tov, who says that it even is hirhurim which enter into the heart of an individual can be considered to be a form of a baskol. And here are going to see other people making statements in the vicinity of you can be considered by you to be a baskol to you. So a baskol is a message. The source may be divine, may be mundane, but it's a message which has been geared towards you. Okay?
It's a big leap from hearing a voice coming down or a voice
right.
to just a hearing,
right.
Hearing someone else.
So that means Baskol covers a very broad range of options, right? And this is towards the hearer side, although not explicitly hearer. Rabbi Yochanan Shimon Logasham Mischani Chami Apoy the Shmuel. Armin, they said Neilach Achar Shmias Baskol. Let's follow the Shmi of the Baskol. Arvin Kumei Sidra, so they went in front of the base Medrash. Shamin, well, this is something which we have had recently a few times. I guess we should point it out just for the sake of the definitiveness. In Yerushalmi lingo, Sidra means base Medrash. There's no parallel word in the Bavli. Bavli are Bei Midrashah. But you have Sidra and Sidra Rabbah. Sidra is small base medrash, and Sidra Rabbah is the big base medrash. Okay, I guess because that's where they had their sidorim. I don't know exactly what that mild derivation is, but something like that. Shamu Kali D'Talye. They heard the voices of young children say to learning the psukim in Shmuel Aleph of Shmuel Meis, that Shmuel died. The Simun, and they took this as a siman. Here, siman is used as a verb. They took it as a siman. The Chain Abaslay, and this is in fact what happened to Shmuel, but Shmuel is already dead, and therefore they were justified in following this Baskol, not going to visit Shmuel. Okay? Rabbi Yaina.
So they heard from the base medrash here.
Right, they heard from students that the students were learning the psukim, and they took it as a sign from Shemaim, and that's called the Baskol. Similarly, Rabbi Yaina, Rabbi Yasa, Salkin, Mevakal, Ravacha. They wanted to go visit Ravacha, David Toshish, who was very weak. Armin Nelech, Masar Shmias Baskol. Let's go after the Baskol to find out if he's dead or alive. Shamun Kale de Itusah. They heard the voice of one woman, Amel Chaverta, saying to her friend, Itfe Butzina, has the candle become extinguished? Itfe is extinguished, Butzina is the candle. Amrullah, so she responded, Lo Yistefe, Velo Mitfe, there was never extinguished, nor shall there be extinguished, Butzeneon Yisrael, the candles of Israel. Which is, of course, a dramatic answer to a mundane question. But the simon they got from this is that Rav Acha was still alive, okay, because his candle had not yet been extinguished. Rabbi Yechanan have a over b'shuka. Rabbi Yochanan was passing through a marketplace. Chama chad mazbin min ilain melutma. He saw a person selling melutma, which is some sort of candy, some sort of a sweet. So Amar Le, so he said, Min Elin at Chaye. From this you can survive. In other words, this is a parnasa. Amar Le in, so he said yes. Shafki v'azulis. Rabbi Yochanan left him and went on. B'sar Shah over Gabe. So after some time had passed, this candy vendor passed by him. Amalei, he said, Rebbe, Tzali love a daven for me. The Minayi Shaita from that time on, Lozavnis Klum. I haven't been able to sell anything. In other words, it gave me 9 hora. So now you have to daven for me that I should be able to sell again. V'amar lei, and he said to him, Shani Asrech, change your place. Pa'amim sheshini Hashem goyim, because sometimes changing your name changes your luck. Pa'amim sheshini hamakom goyim, sometimes changing your place changes your luck. So if you change one of them, then your luck might change. Okay? Right. Period. End of story. We don't know if he recovered his parnasa, but that's the end of the story. Train Talmidim Rabbi Chanina. 2 students of Rabbi Chanina have a nafkin mikatua kis, and they're going out to chop down trees. Chamsin chata is Trulukian. A certain astrologer saw them. Amars, they said, Elaine, the astrologer said, Elaine train mi nafkun, they're going out, v'lo chazin, they're not coming out, not coming back. That's it, they're going to die wherever they go. Mi nafkin pagabu chadsav. As they're going out, a certain old man met these 2 woodcutters. Amarlon, he said to them, Zochun imi, be zocha and do a mitzvah with me. In other words, you should have the schus of doing a mitzvah. The Eastly plus in Yomin, the low cloud time is cool. The 3 days already passed and they haven't tasted anything. Vavimon, the 2 wood choppers, had with them chad igul, 1 cake of dates. Cuts in Paga, they cut off a half, the oven they lay, and they gave it to this old man. Achal, he ate it, v'tzali aleim, and he davened for them. Amar Lon, he said to them, Tiskayim l'chun avshechon, may your souls be sustained. V'hadein yoma, on this day, hech l'kaimun tili nafshi, just like you sustained my soul, but in yoma, on this day as well. Nafkin b'shlam, so they went out in peace, the chazin b'shlam, and they came back in peace. In the meantime, there were individuals who had heard this astrologer's voice predicting their demise. Armulei, so they said to the astrologer, didn't you say, Elaine train me nafkin v'lo chazin, these 2 guys are going out and ain't coming back? He said, Idahacha. So the astrologer said, Idahacha, if that's the case, Gavra Shkar, I'm a liar. It's Trulugian, they shocking because my astrology lies to me. But nevertheless, Hafilu came. He said to them, nevertheless, Azlinu Pashbashun, go out and check it out. Go out and frisk them actually. Vashkachun Chanichas, and they found a snake. Paga Bahada Muvla, one in this guy, half of it in this guy's load, Upaga Bahada Muvla, and the other half in the other guy's load. Amru, so they said, Mativu Abitchon Yomadein. What good thing did you do today that you were able to be saved from the snake? B'tani le'uvda, they told over the story. Amar, so the astrologer said, what can this person, meaning myself, what can I do? The alone the Udoy, the God of the Jews, Mispayes, he's appeased, but Palge ego with half a cake of dates.
How come it doesn't include stuff about some moments, which is what the moral of the story is?
It does. What do you mean, why does it bring the pasuk? Yeah, Yerushalmi, we don't.
And also,
we're not married. That would be too much arichos for the Yerushalmi to bring down a pasuk.
And also, it shows you that 8 mazel Yisrael.
Right, sure. It shows you all these lessons, right. The Yerushalmi doesn't bother, you know the Yerushalmi is not going to bring that kind of stuff down. Says Gemara, Rabbi Chuga Mishtoi, Hadein Uvda. Interesting language. Rabbi Chuga is told over the following story. I don't remember ever seeing that in the Bavli. Somebody told over a story. Chad Gior, Havitz Drulugas. There was a certain Gagir, a convert, who was an astrologer. Chadzman Asa Boy Nab Maifik. Once he wanted to go out and do something. Armas, he looked into his astrological charts. He said, Kadu Nafkin. Now we should go out. It's a bad time to go out. Chazar Amar. Then he recanted and he said, Kadisha. Is there any other reason why that I joined this holy nation? Lola mifresh min ilay milaya, was it not to separate myself from these things? In other words, the whole point of my gerus is that I shouldn't be subject to astrology, that I shouldn't pay attention to astrology, right? Nefuk al shmei debrayon. Let me go out in the name of my Creator. Karev lemichsach. So he came close to being eaten by a lion. Yoav lechamra v'achla. He gave the lion a donkey, and the lion ate the donkey. Ma garem le diyapo. Who caused him to come into danger? Right? Why do you have to face the lion at all? Begin the shiur, because he had a thought to follow his astrology. In other words, the fact that there was a havmina that the lion would kill him was because he had a havmina to follow the astrology. Otherwise, he would have not had to be afraid at all. Okay? So, Man Garam Le Dishtazif, who on the other hand caused him to be saved, begin this Rachet Habiria, because he relied on his Creator. Amar Lo, he said, Kol Menachesh. Not sure who said it to him. I think the best thing would be to take out the word lo, but it's not germane. So he said, Kol Menachesh Sofo Lavo. We see from this that everything, anybody who engages in this kind of sorcery of second guessing, whether it's good or bad to go out, eventually it happens to him himself. My time, what pasuk, what Russia teaches us this? Excuse me. Kilona Chashbi Yaakov. It's written lo lamed aleph, which means no. There is no kind of sorcery or divination among the Jews. However, we can read it also kilo with a vav nachash, that a person does nachash, does divination, trying to divine what's going to happen. Then it happens to him. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay? Amar Rabbi Yacha bar Zira. Rabbi Yacha bar Zira said, anybody doesn't engage in this kind of divination, his section in the world to come is even closer in towards God than that of the angels. My time, what pasuk is there which teaches us this? At that time, it will be said to the Jews, who will say it? The Malachim will say to the Jews, what are God's activities? Meaning that the Jews will be in closer proximity to Hashem than the Malachim. So the Malachim, when they want to know what God's activities are, they have to turn to the Jews who are sitting in closer proximity to let them know. Okay? Amar Echina Breda Rabbi Avo. Rabbi Echina said, it was very strange Gemara. Not strange, sad. Amar Echina Breda Rabbi Avo, Kibachatzi Yom Sha'olam Hoya Osa Rasha. Oimed. At that Rasha, Bilam was standing halfway through the span of the world. How do we know that? Because it says, Ka'es, as the time that has passed, when that time elapses again in the future, then it'll be told at the end of time to the Jews and to Israel what God has wrought. So he was standing in the year. Where's my pen? See, I learned the lesson. I keep my expensive pens in my pocket now. For 2 days last week, I thought I lost my pen, my good pen. So then after 2 days, somebody came in my car with me, and he said, "Oh, is this your pen?" It was stuck to the seatbelt strap, and I looked high and low and called all the places where I had been. So that's why I started keeping it inside this pocket. Anyway. So he said the Bilam was making the statement in the year 2486 by the Jewish count. So the world is supposed to come to an end, 2,486 years later, which would be in the year 4872, which is about 800 years ago, slightly less, right? Which is around when? 1200 or so, right? So how do we know that from the puzzle? Because it says Ko'es, when another time like this has passed, Yarmel Yaakov Yisrael Ma'pal Kel, to be said to the Jews what happened. What?
That's approximately shortly thereafter, following the first crusade.
I'll tell you exactly. 4872. What year are you in now? 5758, right? So 6. 886 years ago. We're now in 1998. 886. That's the year 1112. 1112. Slightly after the first crusade. Right?
Before the second.
What? 1098 was the first crusade. When did Rashi die? So we have certain.
Shortly after. He died before the first crusades? Because Rabbeinu Tam was tortured.
Wasn't Rashi born in 1065? I think he was born in 1065. 1100s, I think so. I know he died at the age of 65, and I think he was born in 1065, which would mean he died in 1120 something? No, 1130 something. 1130, exactly 1130, right. So maybe it's referring to Rashi. In other words, the time of Rashi, they would come along and they would understand Chumash and Shas, Of course, they had no way of knowing about art scroll, but they knew about Rashi. Okay, so in any event, Rabbi Elazar said, "Asira bas kol yos mefotzetzes bolei tzadikim." Eventually, there will be a voice which will come and explode in the tents of the tzaddikim. Ramesh will say, "Kol mishapalim kel." Anybody who acted on behalf of God, like came to learn Yerushalmi, Yavo Hito Schor will come and get his reward. Rabbi Shariava said, eventually the area where the tzaddikim is will be will be closer into God, as we mentioned before, than the area where the malachim are. The malachim asked them, and the Jews tell the malachim, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has wrought. Ma'pa'akel is the translation. Ma'pa'akel is Ma'or Lechem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Malachim asked the Jews, what did Hashem instruct you to do? Amar Lei Bar Chiusa. Lei Bar Chiusa said, V'lo kfar asa came b'olam hazeh. Didn't God already do this in this world? Although you see that's what it says. Ana Nebuchadnezzar v'Omar. Nebuchadnezzar got up and said, Ha'ana chazrei guvrin. I see people, 4, Sharion u'ma'alchim b'goynura, free, walking within the fire. Who are the 4 people?
But before there was Abraham.
Yeah, but that's not the 4th here.
There's only 3.
No, the 4th one was the Malach. Malach Gavriel, Chazal say. So Hanani, Mishael, Azariah, and the Malach came. Okay? Now the 4th one was behind them. It says the 4th one looked like a Bar Elohim. That's what Nebuchadnezzar says. So he was behind the other 3, right? There's no affliction among them, no damage among them. Now often a tangent a little bit. It doesn't mean there no affliction among them. They were eunuchs, and then they were healed. It was part of the miracle. Anyway, then Nebuchadnezzar went on and said, Revia the kadmes that the revia the revia, the visage of the fourth one was like a bar loin. So the revia the kadmes and ksiv kan doesn't say the visage of the first one. El revia the revia, right? The visage of the fourth one. Hey, or tamped down the fire in front of the malach. So we see here, even in this world, that there was a case where human beings took precedence over malachim. Now, the fourth one it says is Dami l'bar Elohim, similar to a God, to the Son of God. Amar Ruvain, it should be Rabbi Ruvain. Bosa Shah Yarad Malach v'Sasar Lahi Shir al Piv. At that time, a malach came down and slapped that Rasha, Nebuchadnezzar, on his mouth. Amalei said, Takin milach. The malach said to Nebuchadnezzar, fix that what you said, fix your words. Ubari Slay, does Hashem have a son? Right?
He's obviously very troubled.
So it says, Chazar Umar, so therefore Nebuchadnezzar changed what he said. It says, Bricha lo ahon, blessed is your God, the Shadoch Meshach. He who sent his malachim Vava Nego and made a salvation. The Shlach Berei Leis Ksiv Kan doesn't say he sent his son. Ela the Shlach Malachi, right? He sent his angel. V'Sheziv Lavdui Disrachzu Eloi Love and saved his servants who relied upon him. So the Yekis, they don't say Brich Shmei. Brich Shmei, and no. Yeah. In general, the Yekis don't do anything Kabbalistic. They're very anti-Kabbalistic. And that comes from the Zohar. But one of the reasons why they don't do it is because it says in Brich Shmei, V'lo bar loin samichna. Right? And that seems it's a very controversial line because, God don't have no sons. So therefore, they just eliminated it. So I assume based on this Gemara. Yeah.
That line there is my right that definitely not your acceptable shot.
Yeah, but I think what you're about to say is contradicted by our Yerushalmi.
No. I'm saying that the Zohar is written by Moshe Cordovero in the
Moshe de Leon.
De Leon?
Yeah.
Well, Moshe de Leon during the Middle Ages, early Middle Ages,
Yeah.
rather than it's written by the Tana.
I knew you were about to say that. That's why I told you that your theory is shot from this Yerushalmi.
But there's still the first part of it. It says
Why does
Yerushalmi Shabbos theory?
Because he's saying that line of lo bar loin samichna is to preclude the Christian position, and it would not have been written by a Tana. Yet here we see bar loin is already a phrase which appears in Navi, right? So here the Yerushalmi understood that phrase was objectionable already at the time of the Navi. So therefore, it's entirely possible that the Zohar was written contemporaneously, if not with the Tanoim, at least with the Yerushalmi, and the Yerushalmi already, the Zohar already had that problem.
I'm aware of it. But there's a little other point. It's the words before it. First off, the juxtaposition of these two phrases. Law al-Mona Shrachitzna.
Yeah.
This makes sense in medieval Spain, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is here you are in medieval Spain.
Wait, before you go on, just concede to me one point.
Yes.
That you were not aware of this Yerushalmi when you formulated your theory.
No, I was not aware of this Yerushalmi,
Okay,
but I was
fine.
aware of the Daniel using the term Bayer Loyan, meaning as like an angel or something like that, or something that was not the Son of God. That I was aware of already. So not this Yerushalmi. So it just adds another right to that, if you want to take that position. The juxtaposition. It says, it seems to be rejecting the two common other religions. It says, Lo bar alonish rachitzna, I don't pray to man. Lo bar.
Lo enosh rachitzna, you mean it's Mohammed.
Right,
Lo
man,
no, not don't pray. Don't rely on me. Rachitza means to rely, to be bitachon.
Rachitza is
Lo enosh rachitza v'lo bar loin samichna. Rachitza means to be bitachon.
okay. All right, that's fine. So so I don't rely on a man, meaning Muhammad, Lobar Elohim, and to the Son of God, Samich.
Yeah.
Which is why, and but that's the point. You add on the ono. It's not just the Barloin. It's the other phrase. The juxtaposition of the two seems rather unusual to me.
It's a riot against you.
Okay, what's the right?
Because even according to those who hold that Reb Moshe de Leon did write the Zohar, everybody knows that he wanted to forge it to make it seem as if it was written earlier. So it's very unlikely that he would make such a stupid error and put in that line, which indicates clearly Lishitoscha, that the Zohar was written after the year 700 of the Common Era.
I take it as that this is true that it was tried to appear to have an earlier thing, but still you were faced with the issue of these other religions seemingly to dominate over Judaism at that time, and you still had a plug against them. You had to say, forget them.
All right, could be. Anyway, so
I have an interesting comment about the gospel from hearing, overhearing people talking. So, the Medrash in about Mordechai asking the students.
right, it's a Gemara, Megillah. The Sokli Psuker, he went by the Psukim. Yeah, we do find similar concepts in the Bible, but in the Bible it's not called Baskel. Yeah, well, maybe when they got the Megillah, they used it there. Okay, I don't think I finished the parak. So Ella, the Shlach Brei Leitz Ksiv Kat El the Shlach Malachi says that he sent his Malach V'Sheziv Lavdo and saved the servants Yisrachitzu. That's the same word as Rachitzu. The Yisrachitzu Eloi who relied upon him, Rabbi Tochen in him. Okay? Hachlach Mameisha Cloud Goro. Parak which makes me shorter. Masnisin. Cloud Goro Omo B'Shabbos. He said a great principle in Shabbos. Kol Shulchech Ikar Shabbos. Anybody forgets the primary concept of Shabbos. V'asam Malachos Harbe B'Shabbos Harbein does many Malachos and many Shabbosos. Eino Chayav Elachas. Can only be Chayav in one carbon. Because what was his Shoygig again? We forgot about Shabbos. Vayodei Ikar Shabbos. So he knows that there's a concept of Shabbos. V'asam Malachos Harbe B'Shabbos Harbe. He does many malachos and many different Shabbosos. Chayav al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. Chayav each and every Shabbos. Not one, but one for each Shabbos, because obviously there were enough days in between the Shabbos to realize that he shouldn't be working the following Shabbos. So he knows the Shabbos and does many malachos. The Shabbos is harbe and many different Shabbosos. Chayav al kol malacha malachis. Chayav for every malacha he does. Hosa malachos harbe mei malacha. Some of those many malachos, which are all similar to one malacha. In other words, they're all tolodos of the same av. Eino chayiv el chatos achos. Only chayiv one chatos. Okay. Ma cloud gadol. Why is Shabbos called a cloud gadol? Rabbi Yisrael Boone came to gadol mi cloud shvius. Because it's greater than the cloud which is stated by Shemitah. What does it say by Shemitah? Shabbos, well, by Shemitah also says cloud gadol. We're going to ask why it says cloud gadol than by Shemitah in a minute. But why is Shabbos an overriding cloud? Because Shabbos chalal kol. Shabbos applies both to that which grows and that which is severed, right? There are all sorts of halachos of Shabbos pertain to every nook and cranny of existence, right? Shvita only has to do with that which the land is worth. And yet on the other hand we see cloud gadol amar b'shvius says that by shvius the word cloud gadol, where if our working assumption is that cloud gadol only appears where this cloud is greater than some other relative cloud, or some greater relatively than some other cloud. So what is shvius greater than? So it says when I'll answer you. Shvius applies both to human food and to animal fodder. Meiser is lower. That Meiser only applies to food which is suitable for human consumption. Okay. Tari Bar Kapora, yet Bar Kapora said, we learned, Says the word Klal Gadol by Meiser as well. Ma'al Klal Gadol. Why is that called Klal Gadol? What's it greater than? So I'm Rabbi Yossi Barabun, Shu Gadol Miklal Peah. It's bigger than Peah. Meiser is Chali Ben Al Davar Shemachlis Lukim. Meiser is incumbent both on something which you warehouse, right? That you stockpile. Ben Al Davar She'en Machlis Lukim. And either side which you don't stockpile. Peah, on the other end, it only takes effect on side which you stockpile. Okay, it only pay on grain, not on fruit, or not something which doesn't stockpile. So says the Gemara, this the boy Meimar. Some wanted to say, Ma'u Gadol Mikan Sheish Lamato Imenu. That which it says Gadol is where there's something below. Now, something below, I forgot what that means. Yeah, either means that which you learned before, the Korban says, that has a cloud which is lower than it in the totem pole, right? These are all Gadol, not at the same level of Gadol, but they're all greater than the lower level. So Korban brings another shot that has that it means that it has tolados, right? You only chayev on something. You only use the. I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. You only use the word Klal Gadol when there's something below, meaning that there are overs and tolados. If there aren't overs and tolados, you don't use the word Klal Gadol. Okay? Has to be a tolada besides the other. I don't know why that makes it Gadol. I guess because it makes it more encompassing.
We just said before, the first question was by Masaros.
By what?
Masaros also uses the term Klal Gadol.
Maybe the Rabbanon. Maybe the Rabbanon. I don't know. By Meiser's, what's the Tolados? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Honestly, we learn Kol Shulchech Iker Shabbos. Anybody forgets that there's a concept. Baruch haba. No opera tonight, was there? No ulpan either, right?
What?
No ulpan either.
No, late so.
Okay. All right. Side of Eis Rebbe, Mr. Zuger, we're up to the Klal Gadol, Mem Amud Aleph, and we're talking about the concept, getting back to the concept of how many chatos you bring on Shabbos for various different. One back here. We're still taking. Talk about on Shabbos how many chatos you chai for various different aspects of forgetfulness. Mr. Zuger, you remember the concept of Helem Achas? Many Lamos. Dr. Fidel, explain it to me. Okay, and then there's, Helem Achas means
that you do it all in one.
One
Forgetfulness.
Right. Lemos Harvey means in several periods of forgetfulness. Okay, so now.
Remembered it was Shabbos and then you forgot again.
Okay, say it's weird.
Oh, you remember and you forget.
Okay. So it says we're on Atzina. We learned. You showing the place?
Let's say you
Not that far. Okay, other thing we learned that Mishnah Kol Shecheh Iker Shabbos. Anybody forgot the entirety of Shabbos, it brings one korban, right? Now that sounds like he knew it, but he forgot it. Okay, he knew there was a Shabbos, and he forgot that there was a Shabbos, right? So says the Gemara, Tani, the base Rebbe, kosher any odeh Iker Shabbos. No, it's talking in the house Rebbe. They said it was talking about a case where the guy never heard about Shabbos. He grew up a complete Amoritz and never heard about Shabbos all to begin with. Okay, Rebbe Lezer Kamas Nisan. Rebbe Lezer, like our Mishnah, that he knew and forgot. Rabbi Yochanan called it the Tani base Rebbe, like we learned in the house of Rebbe, that he never knew altogether. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Eliezer, Roy Melko Shchech Iker Shabbos. Wait a minute. Didn't Rabbi Eliezer say anybody forgets Shabbos? Hoim Eino Yodea Kol Iker Potter. Which sounds like that the only time of being a korban is if you forget. But if you never knew, you're exempt. Because what's the definition of shoygei that you bring a korban? You forgot. But if you never knew, so you take are potter altogether from any korban, because it's not shogeg. It's omer mutter, right? You think it's mutter, it's anus, because you didn't know any better. If you're compelled, but the bottom line is you can't be chayav on shogeg unless you forgot, right? Says the Gemara, min ma de Rav Tani Masnisin. Since Rav said over our Mishnah, upatar law, and he explained ezu sheinu diker Shabbos. Who's a person who doesn't know Shabbos? Katan shenishba beina akum, a katan who's taken captive among the goyim. This teaches us that they're both the same thing. In other words, do not think to make the artificial distinction. There is no distinction between somebody who never knew Shabbos or somebody who knew it was Shabbos. It's all the same thing. And a chanami, it's still called shogeg, even though you never had definitive awareness of Shabbos. The fact that you did not aware of Shabbos at all is tantamount to shogeg. So that's what we're saying is omer mutar is shogeg. Okay, it makes no difference whether you knew it one time and forgot, or whether you never knew. It's the same thing, because somebody who thinks it's mutar is as if he's a shogeg and therefore brings a korban. Now it's interesting. The Ritbaz, I didn't really realize the Ritbaz important until I just said it over. The Ritbaz says the exact opposite. The Ritbaz says everybody agrees that you have to know, in order to be chayav even one korban, you have to know about Shabbos and then forget it. And omer mutar is not shogeg. It's not as if he did it unintentionally, which creates a chayav a korban. Omer mutar is anus. He's exempt. We don't pass him that way. But he says, it says here that he adah. You know that it's between a katan who forgot about Shabbos and somebody who knew about Shabbos as an adult and then forgot it, which seems to indicate that you have to have some prior knowledge. So he says no. No, it seems to indicate you don't need any prior knowledge, because katan doesn't know. So he says no. He says there's a difference between a tinok and a katan. I never ever saw anybody say this. Generally, whenever we use the word tinok in Shas, it's interchangeable with katan. He says here it's not. Here it says when it's talking about, when Rabbi Yochanan says it's talking about katan shenishba bein akum, it means he was taken to captive when? After he became aware of Shabbos. He's a katan shenishba bein akum. He was taken as a minor, but he already had enough time to hear of Shabbos. So the way the Ritbaz went to the conclusion of the Gemara, when it says hi adah, they're both the same. What it means is they're both the same, and we require you to have some awareness of Shabbos in order to be chayav even one korban. The conventional way of learning the Gemara is that katan is not somebody who ever had awareness, but rather any young child. And therefore the hi adah means even if you were never aware of Shabbos, you're still chayav on transgressing Shabbos, one korban at the very least. Okay?
But nowadays we use the expression tinok shenishba, not katan shenishba.
That's right.
So tinok is different than a katan according to the distinction you just made.
That's right.
It's a baby.
According to Ritbaz, but nobody ever said like Ritbaz. So it's interesting. The Chasim, the Toros and Shorishonim in the back says that the Bavli argues on our Gemara and holds that everybody requires hikir b'sof shachach. That you knew about Shabbos, and he forgot it. Kind of like my relationship with Periklal Gadol. I once knew it and then forgot it. But like the Ritbaz, who says that Yerushalmi also means that it has to be a katan and not a tinok, so that makes the Bavli and the Yerushalmi mesh together. They both have the same opinion. That's only where Hikir was so shachach. Okay. Okay. Right. Because you have a guy who doesn't know about Shabbos. That's right. Okay. So it says Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan kol she'ein deikar Shabbos. Wait a minute, didn't Rabbi Yochanan say that you forgot, that it's about even a person who never knew about Shabbos altogether? So it sounds like only if you didn't know. One second. Oh, I forgot. I made the same mistake before. Very important korban neder here. Ha, the word ha here. See the word ha amar. The korban neder says this ha is not a continuation of the previous sugya. It's a clean break with the previous sugya. The word ha, he says here, means it's like gufa. Now we're going back and analyzing. The sugya was over. Now let's go back and discuss it. It's like gufa. Rabbi Yochanan. Let's go back to that which Rabbi Yochanan said. Kol she'ein yodei ikar Shabbos. Somebody who didn't know that there was ever any Shabbos. It sounds like somebody who never knew about Shabbos, he's exempt. Okay?
Okay.
One second.
We say that you split it by money-wise. You sell it, you split the money.
No, I got it wrong again, because they didn't carbonate. Sorry. Again. Gufa, I'm Rabbi Yochanan. The reading actually is Gufa. Kol she'ein yodei ikar Shabbos. Now, that means, it sounds like, who only brings one korban? Somebody who never knew about Shabbos. What about somebody who knew about Shabbos and forgot about Shabbos? Shachar chayev. How could this be? So it says more, don't worry. Mimad demar Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Avo. The same Rabbi Yossi, that which Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Avo say name Rabbi Yossi ben Chanina. Kol da'irusok Rabbi Lezer. Oh, this is like Rabbi Lezer. V'rav Karbanan einu chayev ela achas. But like Rabbanan, he's only chayev one. Hadamra hi. It makes no difference. In other words, the inference which you wanted to draw, that if he knows Shabbos and forgot it, then he's chayav each every Shabbos. That may be true according to Rabbi Lezer, but according to Chachamim, it's not true. Okay, according to Chachamim, there's no difference. According to Chachamim, according to Rabbi Yochanan, there's no difference if you forgot Shabbos or if you never knew about Shabbos. You're still only chayav one korban, and that's it. Okay, that one korban is your chayav. You're not chayav anymore, any less. There's no change. Okay. Says the Gemara, Bon Kumi to Rabbi Yasa. They asked for Rabbi Yasa, Atma Shmas Min Avuch Min Rabbi Yasi. What did you hear from your father named Rabbi Yasi? Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So the Gemara says he heard that his father said like Rabbi Yochanan. Amar Rabbi Chizkiah. So Rabbi Chizkiah told them, Lo Amar Kain. It's not true. The father, he didn't say like that. Rabbi Yossi didn't hold like Rabbi Yochanan. El Rabbi Simon bar Zavda, rather, Rabbi Simon bar Zavda have a Pashtin braid Rabbi Yossi. They were learning together a sugya, Rabbi Simon bar Zavda and the son of Rabbi Yossi. The Shama Minaka heard Rabbi Lezer, and he heard that Rabbi Yossi holds like Rabbi Lezer. Now, what does it mean like Rabbi Lezer? That you're chayev on each and every, if you for new Shabbos and forgot it, that you're chayav in each and every Shabbos you forgot. Not just one korban, you're chayav a korban in each and every one. Says the Gemara, Matli Matlaya. Now, Matal Matla is a funny language. Some say, Korban says it means like the matter is inclined. Matal is like a shadow or something which is inclined to a certain direction. So the way to be a Korban is Shmami Nakad Rabbi Lezer Matali Milaya. That it goes like Rabbi Lezer, the matter is inclined. That means that Rabbi Yasa's father held like Rabbi Elazar, which means that if you forgot about Shabbos, then you're chayiv, and each and every Shabbos you transgress thereafter. Okay? That's one way of learning this Gemara. Another way to learn this Gemara is the Pnei Moshe's. And the Pnei Moshe learns Matali Matla Milayas like Minayin. From where do I learn out the following? Let's go in the next Gemara. What does it say? It says, V'asa achas mehena. Well, from where did I learn out the various different chiyuvim in our mission to be more precise? It says v'asa achas, v'asa hena. So the drudge we have in the Bible as well. It says you do one or you do multiple. V'asa mehena, and then there's an extra mem on mehena. V'asa ach, which also we darshan. How do we darshan? V'asa achas, you do one l'chayv v'koachas v'achas means you chayv each everything you do. Wrong. Hey no, l'chayv v'kulavachas. Hey no means sometimes you chayv one for all the things you did wrong, not for each individual thing. May hey no, the extra man teaches l'chayv v'tolados. You chayv also if you do tolados. Now, name says more. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This supposed to be achos meina. It's written in the Torah by Avodah Zorah. It's not written by Shabbos. You say achos meina teaches me three things. It teaches me that sometimes you chayv one chatos, sometimes you chayv multiple chatos, and you chayv atolodos like ovos. That means you're learning that this is going clearly by Shabbos. Who says? The pasuk itself is written by Avodah Zarah, and maybe it was intended to speak about Avodah Zarah, nothing else. Right? Says the Gemara. Neymar ba'akum akosu b'daber. Maybe it's about Avodah Zarah. Tani Rabbi Zachya, Kumi Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Zachya said for Rabbi Yochanan, I tell you, Zibeach v'kiter v'nisech. A person comes to Avodah Zarah, he sacrifices, slaughters an animal for it. He puts the animal on an altar, and then he libates the blood. Be'ele machas, in one period of forgetfulness, chayev al kol achas v'achas. He's chayev in each and every one of them. It's not just one blanket prohibition of Oived Avodah Zarah. He gets a chiyuv for each and every one, no matter what. He gets flogged or stoned or whatever. He gets each and every one. Korban for every Jew. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan said, Bavlaya, Babylonian one, Avarta v'yadcha tlasa narin v'izbarta. You took in your hand 3 rivers, and you were disproved. This is a very funny thing he said here. Rabbi Adam says the 3 rivers. 3 rivers and passes over to get from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. Don't ask me what they are. I assume they're the Tigris, Euphrates, and Jordan. But you came so far to learn Torah, and you still came out an idiot. He didn't use the word idiot. That's my editorial comment. That's what the word Bavlaya is a code word for. But the other interpretation here, the other interpretations, and I would like to propose the following thing. He says, you took in your hand 3 rivers. What are the 3 rivers you took in your hand? Right. Zibech, sacrificing, kiter, not sacrificing, slaughtering, sacrificing, and putting it on his bech. So Rabbi says, you took in these 3 hands, and you're incorrect. Ein chayev elachas. You're only chayev one. Now, Lamais, it's ironic. We possibly look Rabbi Zachya. We possibly chayev 3. I looked it up in the Rambam. But Rabbi Yochanan said, you took in your hand 3 rivers. You thought there were 3 separate streams, so to speak, and you were wrong. You chayev only one in all of them. Now it says, before that conversation took place between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Zaki, let's analyze what was before the conversation. Adlo Yad Birano, Biyode, until he broke it in his hands, Yesh kan achas, ein kan hena. There would be only achas and not hena. How is that? Because achas means you chayev one. Hena means you chayev multiple, right? So Adlo Yat Birena, before Rabbi Zachia broke it, so to speak, he made 3 rivers out of it. So what would I have said we're talking about? What would I have said the halacha is? Excuse me, like Rabbi Yochanan, right? Only one. That would use the word achas in the pasuk, but not the word hena, because hena means you're chayav multiple. Now, after he broke it, after Rabbi Zachia broke it apart, it means the tavri biyade yesh kan hena. Then hena you got. Then chayav yisher v'yon. But ain't kan achas. The problem, this pasuk can't be taught by avodah zarah, because mimanav shach it's not going to work. Like Rabbi Zachia, you got 3 separate chiyuvim, but not 1 chiyuv. And like Rabbi Yochanan, you have 1 chiyuv, but not 3 separate chiyuvim. So the pasuk we're trying to prove can't be talking about avodah zarah. That's the point we're trying to make. By the way, this is all me speaking. I didn't see this anywhere. This is the Mashbiach took a rest for Klal Goro. Let's go back to that. Fantastic. Truth is, I could have looked at the Stifler or the Lieberman, but I'm prepared in the yeshiva, and the yeshiva doesn't have this far. So says the Gemara. So what the Gemara is trying to say, though, clearly, and to my mind, is you just asked me, how do I know that the pasuk of achas mehena, which teaches us that sometimes you chayv 1 chatos for many melachos, so that it's chayv multiple chatos for many melachos, and you chayv an ovis and tolados? How do you know that pasuk is speaking about Shabbos? It's written in a parsha which concerns avodah zarah. The Gemara's answer can't be talking about avodah zarah, right? Because by avodah zarah can't be both achas and hena. It's either or. It's not both. Like Rabbi Yochanan, it's achas, and like Rabbi Zachia, it's hena. It's not both. Says the Gemara, no. That's not a good proof. You know why? Because v'hechon ba'akum. Now the Korban 8 explains the next part very beautifully. It says v'hechon ba'akum. How do you want? You're asking me how I can set it up by talking about avodah zarah. I can. I'll show you. It'll work. I can make achas me'ena work by avodah zarah. How so? V'hechon means heich. How can I set up by avodah zarah? I'll show you. Ba'avodasa, ba'avodas hagavoa, v'shtachavoy. By dividing avodah zarah into 3 separate categories. Avodah means what you do for that avodah zarah, custom avodah. Like what you do for Baal Pa'or? For Baal Pa'or you defecate, right? Right. That's avodah. That's its personal service, custom tailored for it, right? Then there's avodas kavod. Avodas kavod means when you do what we do in the Beis HaMikdash to the avodah zarah, such as Ketores, right? That's the second category. Then there's a third category, Bishtach Havoya, bowing down. If you assume that there are those 3 categories, I can apply Achas and Hena to avodah zarah as well. Very well. How so? When it comes to its own avodah, so then you're chayiv on each one separately. In other words, whatever you do for that avodah zarah, which comes under its own avodah, for that you're chayiv on each one separately. Each one has its own distinct parameters, and you're chayiv in each one separately. That's mehena. Okay? That's mehena. Ba'avodas kavoa, if you're looking at it from the perspective of things which you do to Hashem, and you apply it to this avodah zarah, l'chayav b'kulan achas. There, it's all achas. No matter how many avodos which you do to it, which are similar to what we do in the Beis HaMikdash, it's all one prohibition of doing to avodah zarah what you do to Hashem. So if you do its own avodos, that's heno. Because if it has multiple avodos, and you do each one of them, for each one you're chayav a separate korban. But the moment you do to avodah zarah one of the 4 things, right? What is it? Shchita, holacha, kabbalah, holacha, and zrika, which you do inside. If you do that to the avodah zarah, any combination of that, you're only going to be chayav 1, because the prohibition is taking that which was done to God and doing it to avodah zarah. So I have now achas and hena. Now I need to darshan the mei hena, the mem, right? Because that's what I was dashing before. I learned achas is going on where you forget Shabbos. Heina is where you forget melachos. And Meheina teaches you avos and tolados, right? So now I've managed to get achas to work by avodah zarah. When you're doing its own thing, Heina to work by avodah zarah, where you're doing its own thing to it. So on each and every of its own things you do to it, you chayev a separate chatas. Achas I got to apply to it because I said achas you're chayev when you do any combination of the avodas done to Hashem to the avodah zarah, you're chayev one. Now I have to get to the mehena. How do I get to mehena? Very simple, says the Gemara. Mehena b'shtachavoya l'chayev amiktzasa. If I bow down. So what's the classic bowing down? What's classic bowing down?
Prostration.
Through prostration, right. So what's mehena? Even partial prostration, bowing, then nodding one's head, or whatever the case may be. So I got all three. So now the kasha comes back. How do I know the pasuk of achas mehena is going on Shabbos? I just managed to get it to work out by avodah zarah very nicely, right? So says the Gemara, Rabbi Bun Bar Chia b'shem Rav Shmuel Rabbi Yitzchak said, you know what? For the words achas mehena themselves, I can't prove anything. You're right, touche. But it says something else in the parsha, which I'll get you on, which will prove that the parsha is talking about Shabbos. What is that? Because it says, if the Kohen Gadol sins for the guilt of the nation, and he brings a par a bull. Mitzvah Shamashiach maybe a par. So this parsha is talking about an area, a mitzvah, where the Mashiach brings, where the Kohen Mashiach, where the anointed Kohen, the Kohen Gadol, brings a par, brings a bull. Yotza Akum, this precludes Avodah Zarah. She'enu mevi oleh par el asir bilvad. When by Avodah Zarah, a Kohen Gadol doesn't bring a bull; he brings a female goat. I forget where that's derived from, but that's let's take this axiomatic for the moment. So if that's the case, it can't be that this parsha is talking about Avodah Zarah, because it says it's talking about a case where the Kohen Gadol brings a bull. And we know if the Kohen Gadol sins in Avodah Zarah, he brings a female goat. So must you talk about Shabbos, where the Kohen Gadol brings if he did it unintentionally, he brings a female bull. He brings a bull. Okay? Hey Tivun, it says, man, that's not a good raya. I ask you like this. Maybe it's talking about where the Kohen Gadol ate treif, chaylev. Or maybe it's about where he had relations with a woman who was forbidden to him, right? Arei Mashiach maybe a par. In that case, the Kohen Mashiach does bring a bull. So it says, that's not going to work. Because in order to get the achas mehena to work, I need to have something which has tolodos. Chalovim, ain't tolodos. There's no tolod of chaylev. Either it's chaylev or it's not. What's the tolod of chaylev? So it says, fine. So it won't be chalavi. But let it be arayas. I got a toloda by arayas. What's the toloda by arayas? What's the mehena by arayas? Says more, arayas osbedes ma'ara kagoymer. What's the act of arayas? A full biyah. What's a partial biyah? Where he does hara, right? Just where he touches with his aver. He touches the woman's mako. So that would be a toloda. So I can make avos and tolodos even if I have the pasuk deal with arayas. So let's say it's about arayas, which fits the criterion of a bull for the Kohen Gadol, and also fits the criterion of being a situation in which there's tolodos, right? Says the Gemara, you know what? You're right. I concede defeat. I have to find another pasuk. How do I know that I'll have to find another pasuk which teaches us that you can bring multiple korbanos. Now, what's the pasuk which brings multiple korbanos? Says the Gemara, Chevraya Omrin, Shabbos hu Hashem. It says Shabbos is to God. L'chayev al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. It means that each and every Shabbos, you're chayev a separate korban. Until now, learning each and every Shabbos chayev a separate korban. Now this is going. I have to remind you. This is going to Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer holds that somebody who knew Shabbos and forgot it is chayev each every Shabbos. We paskin, he only is chayev one. I don't know if we paskin. That's Rabbi Yochanan said. It's only chayev one. Rabbi Lezer chayev each every Shabbos. We wanted to learn out from achas mehena, right? Hena means you chayev each every Shabbos. We knocked it out of the box because we said achas mehena might well be talking about chalofim. Well, Chalif might not be talking about Shabbos. So we need to prove from somewhere else. So it proves from here. It says, it says, Shabbos hu Hashem, l'chayev al kol Shabbos is Shabbos. The who, I guess, teaches us that each and every Shabbos can be distinct. Rabbi Hillel said, Ksiv it says, Kol ose bo melacha, you must. Anybody who does melacha, it dies. Lo ose bo b'chabero. Means each day is distinct. Each Shabbos is distinct. You can't join one Shabbos to another Shabbos. That means that each Shabbos has its own set of korbanos. You say Shabbos don't join together. So it means each Shabbos is distinct in terms of its korban. Chokos. Do they divide a malacha in half? Or if they did half a malacha on one Shabbos, another malacha on the next Shabbos? Or the way the korban Eder brings down the case, Shabbos came after Yom Kippur, or vice versa. You half a malacha on Shabbos and half a malacha on Yom Kippur. Does it divide it up? So it says, Rabbi Yossi Rabun, Kashem she'em mitzdarfos. Just like they don't join together, kach ein chokos. So too they don't separate. What does that mean? Why they don't join together? Why don't they join together? Because each Shabbos has a distinct quality, right? Fine, granted. So now, let's say you did a malacha on half a Shabbos and another malacha. That was vis-a-vis the issue of, I did malacha, full malacha this Shabbos, full malacha next Shabbos. So in the middle, I say, since there was a bad difference, distinction between the two, according to Rabbi Eliezer, I bring a korban for each Shabbos. Ain't Shabbos is mitzdarfos. Not like Rabbi Yochanan. Yochanan had said, if I forget multiple Shabbos, I bring only one korban. But it says, no, they're not mitzdarf. For each one, I bring its own korban. Now, what if I did, however, half a malach on this Shabbos and half a malach on the next Shabbos? So then, says the Gemara, you know what? This is based on the Pnei Moshe. Pnei Moshe says, you know what? In that case, ein cholkos. And I have to bring one korban. Why is that? Because the truth is, although the Yerushalmi doesn't discuss it outright, we know from the Bible what the logic to say Chayiv in each and every Shabbos. Because it's not possible that he would have gone through an entire week and not known what day of the week it was, right? Oh, that's true. Good point. So it means he would have had a yediyah in the middle. But we know, ein yediyah l'chatzi shiur. Remember that principle? It means if you find out in the middle of a malacha that the malacha is awesome, but then you forget and you continue the malacha again, so you still the two parts are mitzdarif. Right? A yediyah is not mechalik in the middle of malacha. It's a mechalik between one malacha and another malacha, but not in the middle of a malacha. So that's what we're saying here as well. What we're saying here as well is that although each Shabbos is different and distinct, you have to bring a separate korban because in the middle of Mistomi you found out it was Shabbos, but that's precisely the reason why if you did half a malacha on this Shabbos and half a malacha on the next Shabbos, or half a malacha on Shabbos and half a malacha on Yom Kippur, that I say that you have to still bring only one korban on it because the yediyah in the middle is not mechalik between Shabbos. Okay, we'll stop here for this Shabbos.